Thanks again for watching the Eyes on Texas channel, your source of breaking horns news and video highlights, where I put out college videos almost every single day of the week. If you go ahead and watch those videos, share them amongst your friends, give them a like, and if you would go ahead and subscribe as well, I would appreciate that. Recently, I wrote a video about Caleb Williams, the OU commit in the 2021 class, the overall commit, #1 in that class, and why me, AK, as a Texas Longhorns fan, I was happy about that commitment. With that being said, I got a lot of feedback, mostly positive, on Facebook as well as down in the comment section down below. A lot of the feedback was that Texas does, in fact, have a logjam of our own at quarterback. And I don't really see that as the case. I don't really see Texas as having a logjam per se. I see Texas does have many talented quarterbacks. I will not deny that. We have Hudson in the 2020 class. We have JQJ in that class as well. We have Casey Thompson, who is in their 4-star, who's been on the roster for a couple of years. And then, of course, we have Jalen Milroe coming in from Katy Tompkins in the 2021 class. With that being said, it's the type of athlete we've been recently recruiting. That is the reason I feel that we don't have a log jam there. I feel that Hudson if need be, if he gets beaten out, could switch over to wide receiver, for example. If JQJ gets beaten out, he can move over anywhere pretty much on the field, let's say specifically linebacker on defense, or as a free-ranging free safety that could lay the wood, or as a big slot receiver, right? Just beating people up in the big slot, lining them up and beating people up in the big slot. I think JQJ could have a lot of success there. Jalen Milroe, coming out of Katy Tompkins, also is going to be a versatile athlete. Anywhere with the ball in his hands, I could see that potentially landing down the road and changing positions. So that's what I mean as far as logjam in that regards. With that being said, someone is going to win the job. Someone is going to be in QB1. Someone is going to be the man on campus once Sam Ehlinger is gone. And that's what this video is going to be about, right? So let's get started. And to keep the suspense, I made this list in alphabetical order. We're starting with Casey Thompson, where he is a true dual-threat quarterback, coming out of Newcastle, Oklahoma, where he rushed for over 3,000 yards and put up another impressive almost 10,000 in the air. Very good numbers, and his athleticism does show up on film. He does, Casey Thompson, have the advantage of being in the system of Texas for quite some time. The coaching staff knows him. He has had the ability to grow physically, mentally, get a little bit stronger, so Casey Thompson does have the advantage there. With that being said, since being on campus, not much pub has been on him, right? Haven't heard a lot of publicity about him pushing for the starting job. Haven't heard a lot about his success in spring practice or about what he's really doing throughout the season. And plus, one of our whooping teams early on in the season, all we've really seen him do is hand the ball off. I think there might be some reason for that. With that being said, that's my take on Casey Thompson, which brings us to Jalen Milroe, 6'2", 195 pounds out of Katy Tompkins. He is going to be another dual-threat quarterback, very similar to Casey Thompson. With that being said, he's a little bit larger, does have a bit more weight on his frame. In my personal opinion, has a bit speed and athleticism to boot. Does throw a good deep ball, has touch on it as well. Quarterbacking skills needs a little bit more port, a little more polish, a little more fine-tuning on that. With that being said, he is a commit in the 2021 class, so he does have a bit of time to do that. Talking about transitioning, if he doesn't possibly get the starting job at Texas, I can see him as a slot receiver, really anywhere with the ball in his hands. The running back room does look pretty full, however, it does look pretty stacked in the RB room, so slot receiver probably is what he would transition to. He is a true Texas guy for life, right? That's what I really like about Jalen. He is recruiting in his class. He has Hayden Connor on board, talking to the other recruits. I do see him as a true Texan and as a true member of our squad throughout his whole entire career. If he doesn't transition to the receiver, I do see him being the backup, career backup. With that being said, I would much prefer him on the football field making plays than riding the pine. So that's my personal opinion on Jalen, which leads me to JQJ Jaquindon Jackson. 6'2", 220 pounds out of Duncanville, Beeville down there in Texas, who is in their dual-threat quarterback, much different than the previous two, more powerfully built, much more thicker, stronger of an athlete. The other two would rather juke you with their lateral movement, JQJ would much rather just go straight through you with the ball in his hands. Much stronger ball carrier, runner with the ball in his hands as well. He did recently suffer an injury in the 2019 playoffs, which did set back JQJ, unfortunately. With that versatile athlete, if he does not make the starting job, I do see him transitioning to anywhere on the field, basically. On the defensive side of the ball, let's say as a ball hawk outside linebacker or a hard-hitting Leatherwood-like type safety. On the offensive side of the ball, not running back, as I mentioned earlier, as that room is still looking pretty good and probably will be looking good whenever he gets his time on the 40 acres to play. So I see him as being as the big slot. I see him possibly being there as little Jordan Humphreys, very similar to people out there, beating people up with the ball in his hands, just toss JQJ the ball and let him do his thing with it. With that being said, that leads us to our next quarterback candidate, Hudson Card, 6'3", 180 pounds. He's listed as a dual threat quarterback. However, I see him more as an athletic, pro-style quarterback. He's not the kind of sort of dual threat quarterback that's going to go ahead and give you a first down there into the goal line, or going to do a quarterback sweep, or is going to get you that 1 yard that you really need whenever you really want it, like Sam, right? I don't see him as a true dual threat quarterback, more of a pocket style quarterback that can escape a bad situation or make a play downfield once that pocket has been broken down. More of a slim build that needs to fill out in college. He does play for Lake Travis coming out of high school, which is known for producing top-rated quarterbacks, probably the #1 quarterback producing school in the nation. More recently, he's going to have Garrett Gilbert and Baker Mayfield coming out of it. Lake Travis, known for producing top talent, so known for producing quarterbacks, so has been under great tutelage in high school. Looked great amongst his peers in the 2020 Under Armour game. This is going to be a big point of emphasis for me. Under Armour game is where you get the chance to play the best of the best, the creme de la creme. The elite athletes go ahead against each other for a week of practice and then play at a game, a kind of sort of exhibition style of the 300 greatest athletes playing high school football. They choose about 60 or 70 kind of sort of players, and they play a great game. And in that game, Hudson Card was the best quarterback all week and performed very well in that game. So that's going to be another thing that bides Hudson Card positively, in my opinion, is that in the 2020 class, in my personal opinion, he is QB1. He's the one that I want out of all of them, looking the best throughout that week, as well as being a top-rated 4-star quarterback all throughout his time at Lake Travis, right? So with that being said, who do I see being the #1 quarterback? Who do I see being quarterback #1 taking over Sam Ehlinger? JQJ, sometime throughout the 2020 season, will change positions in my mind. The running back room, I believe, is strong, so I project him to be an outside linebacker or play that big slot position on offense. Jalen Milroe, I see him as a Texas lifer. He recruits well for their school and reps it very, very well. I see him as a backup or an inside slot receiver down the road. Casey Thompson, I see him getting lost in the shuffle, unfortunately. I see him transferring out of Texas, and that's why the portal is there. Hudson Card to take over the reins for Texas in 2021 after Sam has left the 40 acres. Hudson proved his mettle in the Under Armour, and he will prove it here on Texas. I believe that he is the truth in the 2020 class, being the #1 QB, QB1 out of that class, in my personal opinion. He showed it whenever it was iron versus iron throughout that whole entire week. His film is absolutely phenomenal. He moves well, has a great pocket presence, and I believe his leadership skills will transfer on the field and onto the classroom and be a great representative for the university. With that being said, tell me your thoughts. Let me know what you think of your boy Hudson. Who's your choice? You got JQJ. You think Casey Thompson is going to take over, and with his leadership qualities as QB1, who do you got? Let me know down below. Hook 'em up, guys.